Oh, what's up, addicts? We're back here. This is that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Second take, volume. Episode 11. I don't know if there's going to be. Yeah, I have read volume 11 that hasn't even been created yet. Anyway, so for this one, Josh is going to do the recap, and it was an interesting episode. Slice of life elements.
Yeah.
Great comedy. Great fight scenes.
I love this episode, and even though like hardly anything happened, well, we get important things, but there's smaller stuff. You'll get what I'm saying when I'm talking. So we start off with this episode, and it takes place a few days after the events of the last episode, and we just kind of get to see him go around, or Rimuru go around the village, interact with some of the ogres after they've been evolved. Is that the correct term, I guess?
Yeah.
And then, so we get that little interaction. We get to see that there's being improvements made to the village, and so on. There's some great moments that I'm sure we'll talk about. But the main part of this episode is the introduction of the Lizardmen to Rimuru's village, which kind of ends in a shoddy alliance, I guess you could say. It's not so much an alliance as it's just like, yeah, we'll be your support.
We have a Napoleon quote in this episode.
So good. That guy kind of is like a Napoleon, the lizard guy.
Pretty much.
What's his name?
Gabaru.
Gabaru.
I can only say
the chant.
Yeah. Gabaru.
But yeah, we get to see more of him, and I think as you could tell from the introduction of like the other episode, he's he's not full of himself, but his like entourage makes him full of himself. Yeah. So that leads into plays into the interaction. And then after we get that kind of introduction to them, we get to see that Rimuru's group actually gets confirmation of where the ogres are and how many they are. So they get kind of the same information as like the lizardmen had. And then we get to see that there is a dryad that's reached out to them in contacting, which hasn't been done in, I think they said, several decades or something like that. And
she's pretty cool.
Yeah, she is pretty cool.
Like, I recognize you.
And it ends the episode with her being like, yeah, I want you to kill that guy, that ogre king. He's not an ogre, he's an orc. He's a pig? I don't know.
He's a pig man.
Pig.
Pigman, lord.
Yeah, something like that.
Lord of the pigs.
That's great. But yeah, that's basically what happens. So, Michael, there's a lot of great things that happen in this episode in terms of like comedy probably, but what was some of your
There's so many good moments. So first I could talk about the slice of life section. You have the naming process kind of ending. Because of that, I believe it's the episode where Rimuru falls asleep and wakes up. Am I crazy? Am I out of my mind?
You might be right. I don't remember that.
That may be the previous episode.
That might have been the one.
But he's just chilling. You have a couple interactions between Onai, or I guess we'll keep it ogres because I'm not sure. But I think Onai, the Princess Onai, and Shion, with Slime, fighting over the protection of Slime. The princess is actually making silk to help reinforce their armor.
Yeah. Teaching the dwarves a thing or two.
Yeah, and they're pretty, especially the guy who can't talk. He's pretty excited about that. Exactly. And then we have blacksmith bros hanging out, Cajun and 40-year-old man.
Yep.
Talking about that. And then we basically get, we get Shion, I don't know if that's her name, but she makes a meal for Rimuru. It's utterly disgusting. And somebody gets poisoned, and Gobda just happens to be around the corner when that happens, and hilarity ensues. What about you? What were some of your favorite moments?
There's a lot. The one thing I want to mention real quick, though, is just the fact they show... I can't remember exactly what it is, but I wrote it down on how, like... Benamaru, he has like it's kind of like a flashback almost of like the person what the guy looked like that like assaulted the village, right? And then they're like, yeah, sorry again that we mistaked you for him. But in the flashback, like they look nothing alike. So it's
like a huge dude.
Yeah, and so that was one thing I found funny. But the other thing was is this the right episode? No, this isn't even the right episode. I don't know. Wait, this is 11, right?
This is 11. This definitely 11.
That's why.
Yeah.
Wrong thing. Actually, that actually was in the last episode. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
I meant...
It's a flashback.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. Sorry.
Reading those notes, boys.
Reading those notes. Yeah, probably something I should have done beforehand because it's been a couple days. But, but the one thing I do like a lot is there's I don't know. It's kind of a little bit spoilery, but I guess that's why you're watching this. So you have the little I guess you could say mock battle. It's kind of a mock battle because they're so OP compared to the lizard guy, Gabaru. But Gobta actually does like a one-on-one battle with him, and there's a part where Rimuru's like, I guess envisioning how he thought it was gonna go. And that little envision I thought was just priceless because they look like Yakuza.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, his envision is like Gobta gets injured, and then you have like all the
like, you want me to take care of him, boss? Yeah,
straight so Yakuza. Good. That's so good. Yeah, I remember that.
And then like you were saying, the little like passive aggressive fight that the two ogre chicks had against him, and they're kind of like twisting him as they're talking. It's just like sharp gaze, and then also he's just like, "Wait, what am I asking for?" Because he's like, "Yeah, you can help me later." It's like,
"Oh, okay." What does that even mean? The world may never know.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'm sure I'm going to spark a little bit of controversy with, and that is just a little bit of praise I want to give in terms of the CGI used for the army that they see, and I don't know what it is. I mean, because I'm not a fan of CG by any means, but in the use of it, because it's supposed to be like at night, so it's kind of has like a shadowy look to it. But I think that the CG that they used for that in that instance looked actually really good. I don't know about you. I don't even know if you remember that scene.
Yeah, no, but I do remember what you're talking about.
I thought it was something to highlight because I don't know like when they're actually fighting them if they're planning on using CG or if they're going to go with like the drawn route. But if they do, I was like, okay, that little bit that I saw, it actually looks okay. I'm like okay with that.
Yeah, it's a hard decision for like fights with huge armies because if you go like between full CG and not, it looks, it's the Goblin Slayer effect.
You gotta fully commit or not.
Yeah, so maybe
it's kind of like an Overlord situation.
Yeah, like wide shots with the orcs and then the lizardmen or whoever else they're fighting. And then, close-ups on like the leaders or something like that. But no, I really did like the CGI in this episode. I think it was... That's what CGI is for. It's not for one character in a wide shot.
It's for it's super noticeable.
It's for a lot of characters where you get like that kind of CGI allows you to get the scope of how big the army was without them spending, I don't know, probably 100 people trying to draw all those.
Getting a cramp.
Yeah, trying to draw all those orcs and their motions and stuff. Yeah, overall, that scene was very, very cool to understand like the threat that they have in the future that they have to deal with.
Yeah, because we know that they are close to the lizardmen. Marshes, whatever.
Yeah, the lake or whatever.
Yeah, and that they're gonna have to act quickly.
Yeah, we'll see how.
That's another great thing where he's just like, I don't really like having him as an ally. So we'll just see how that goes.
Yeah, that's the Napoleon quote. Yep. It's like what's more dangerous than a competent
a competent enemy or an incompetent ally?
Yeah, something to that extent. It's a paraphrase, but also Gobta almost dies in this episode due to eating that food. We have kind of almost a memorial for him.
Yeah,
and then he comes back.
They're just like, yeah, he died, and but like I'm like, did they throw his body in like the river or something? They didn't actually have a proper burial because I feel like that's something they would do for Gobta. But that's like really.
He got some props though.
Yeah, he did. Dude, he's got...
shadow motion.
Yeah, which that was actually really cool to see. Because I don't know... I mean, I think we got a confirmation that he had that skill before. But I think this is the first time we actually saw it
used in combat. Yeah, usually it was used in, like... I think to, like... to
escape the
To dungeon. Escape or, like, to go I can't say the word. Yeah. Transport from one location to another.
It's so great the way that the lizardmen...
the lizardmen are just... I think that was...
Why don't you take your glidered scat?
I think that was just great how, like, the follow-up scene... I remember in the book, I don't remember how long the intro scene was for, like, the lizardmen coming into contact with Rimuru, or if that encounter exactly happened that way. But I think that was one encounter that the anime really shined, and, like, it was just... Every moment was priceless.
Mm. And you had a moment that you wanted to highlight a little bit just because of how important it may or may not be in the future. And that's the interaction with Gobta and Ranga.
Oh, yeah. So, Ranga is actually... We haven't seen him in his full form for quite a while. Yeah. He was pretty intimidating. And I think...
Got that award.
I think Rimuru was like, yeah, the lizard man... the main lizardman guy was like, oh yeah, Gabaru, yeah, he can't, like, he doesn't understand what fear is, or he's too dumb to understand how powerful Ring is. Like, that's great. But yeah, you have a beginning of respect between Gabda and Ranga, which will continue in the future. We'll have to see what happens there. Probably nothing this season or the next one. But
I thought that was great how, like, Rimmer was like, wait, is he like a prodigy son now? Because it's like, I'm pretty sure that, I mean, I don't know. You would know in this statement. So feel free to cringe at this statement. But I feel like at least right now, out of all the people that he has in, like, his, main fighting force, Gabda's probably the weakest. So
physical stats wise, probably, yeah.
So that's why I think it's like, maybe in that sense to them, it's like, oh man, good job, Gabda. But I feel like, since Gabaru's pretty weak sauce, it was like, and
I mean, he's got an inherent race bonus and, strength from us being named.
That's true. Also, Rigurd is probably, like, still my favorite guy, just because, like, I love, like, whenever he enters the room, he's just like when he was coming to get Rimmer, he's just, like, flexing. Or, like, when Gabda wins, he's like, that, oh boy, show them what goblins can do, how goblins can do.
Yeah, there's some great moments in there.
Yeah. I think this is probably one of my favorite. I don't know if I can say my favorite so far, just because I'd have to go back, and rewatch some of the other ones, but I think this is one of my favorite ones that they've had so far. And I think that says a lot, just because, like, we get some fighting, but it's mainly, like, just comedy, and but their comedy works, like, really well here.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite episodes. Again, once they have that cast of characters, they can kind of explore and, explore those characters and the interactions. I think that was highly beneficial. If I had to describe this episode in one kind of phrase, I would say that I was pretty much smiling or happy the entire time I was watching the episode. Like, not only was I paying attention to what was happening, I was like, oh, this is fun. I'm having a good time watching this.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know what it is, but, like, some of the other episodes, like, I've enjoyed the comedy, but maybe it was just because it was maybe just spread in there. I didn't get to appreciate it as much. So plus, I don't know if it helped or not, but I was in the middle of watching another comedy show. So transitioning into watching this, I was kind of in the mood to watch comedy, and it just so happened this episode was, like, mainly comedy, and I'm just like, yay.
Well, anyway, guys, I don't want to keep you here too long, but that was episode 11. We really enjoyed it. We're excited for next episode if we have the Orc Lord conflict and see how powerful the droids are.
Yeah.
And also, and the new followers.
Are we officially halfway there?
We're officially almost halfway there.
All right. That works for me. So I guess we'll see you guys next time. Be sure to check us out for Goblin Slater later this week, as well as, Slime next week. And we got a bunch of other stuff coming. So until then, next, peace.
Later.